So the astrology for the day that TikTok is supposed to be banned is a little bit strange. I think it's really interesting that the sun is going to be in Capricorn at 29 degrees. It's literally the final day of Capricorn season, and this is going to be the first Capricorn season that we've had in 17 years where there's no Pluto in Capricorn. So we're coming out of the bindings of systems. Interesting. Okay, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn on January 19th is going to be conjunct with Venus in Pisces. When Saturn and Venus get together, there are so many boundaries, and I mean so many of them, with giving and receiving. I will receive this because of this. I will not give this because of this. And it gets more detailed and more detailed and more detailed. And because it's Pisces, there's kind of two different ways to read into this. Spiritually, our spiritual disciplines, our spiritual practices, spiritual systems that you may have, detailed within their boundaries of receiving and giving. Literally, Saturn conjunct Venus has to do with the restrictions of receiving and the restrictions of giving. Since it's in Pisces, spiritually, a giving and receiving is being restricted. It's a really tight grip. Harder to slip, still a tight grip though. The other way that I read Pisces a lot of the times is transition. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac, and so we're moving on from everything that's already been done and we're headed into the new, but we're not there yet. Neptune, which rules Pisces, will also be direct on January 19th. So whatever it is that is happening on this January 19th day, because honestly, I'm not sure how they're going to enforce this or how it's going to be enforced or how it plays out. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other creators who could give you far more detailed information about that. I am not one of them, but I can tell you about the planets. Also, Mercury will be in Capricorn with the sun on that day. And Mercury is about communications. And what do we do on this app with each other? We talk all the time. So a constriction, something in the light, something being finalized, the sun being at 29 degrees is it is the finality. The 29th degree is the critical degree. Personally, I call it the death degree. Because if you have the time, you make it to the very end of your life, what are you doing? You're delegating, you're writing up your will, you're making sure your inheritances are going where they need to go. So there will be a lot of light on this within any structural system spaces, especially for people who are transitioning over to, because Pisces is transition, so transitioning over to other apps, transitioning over to other spaces. Also, the transition of what does it look like for TikTok to not be here anymore. Also, a reminder, the stars and the planets are neutral, and it's about how we kind of put our will into the skill of the planet. So there's a lot of different ways that this could occur. That's just what the planets are saying. If you're not already following me on other platforms, I would love it if you joined me. I have a YouTube up. I have a podcast out on Spotify. It's also on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. There's all the links are in my bio on my website. There's a blog that I run on Substack. That one's also available through the website. That's true. You can sign up for my email list through the blog and get updates on everything I'm doing, updates on the podcast when it goes out. And then YouTube is kind of where I teach my courses, or if you ever wanted to study astrology and kind of figure out applications of it, that's more of what my YouTube is. More than likely, I'll switch over some more short-term content onto YouTube, but everything else is pretty transitioned already. So if you want to keep supporting me, I'm grateful for it. Thanks so much. I will say as a side note, another interesting thing about this, because Saturn does not just rule over Capricorn where the sun is going to be, and the sun is about to go into Aquarius where Pluto is. Pluto will be at 1 degree, and the other ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. Uranus is going to be retrograde in It's going to be retrograde in Taurus. My brain was somewhere else for a second, because Venus rules Taurus, okay? Venus rules Taurus, and Venus is what is conjunct with Saturn on the day that TikTok is getting banned. Supposedly, allegedly, within the next, 2 months? A month? A little over a month. And retrogrades are binding. Oh boy. Retrogrades are binding. So anything that is done that is different, we're going to have to revisit it. TikTok being banned, a little bit different. Could be how they transition, how they make these transitions. Maybe it's a little different. Okay, anything that's different, maybe a little chaotic, maybe a little rebellious or creative, that's happening on that January 19th day, we're going to have to revisit it, because that Uranus retrograde in Taurus is going to bind us up to being forced to revisit it. And with everything else that's happening with Saturn and Neptune, North Node stuff next year, I wouldn't be surprised if there's other news around TikTok in the future. Do I know what that is? No. No, I don't. But I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up. And the moon is going to be in Libra with the South Node and the dark moon on that day. If you look back to the eclipse that happened on October 2nd and you're looking at your intentions or any work that you did, that's actually going to be influencing what's happening. If you're someone who is like on TikTok or in spaces, it'll be influencing that. Interesting. Because Mars retrograde will be in Cancer at that time, which will be ruled by that moon that's in Libra. Oh my goodness. There's going to be a revisit of it somewhere. I'm not sure when, I'm not sure how, I'm not sure why, I'm not sure. I don't know. It could be it's also Pisces like included in this, so it could be indirectly coming back up in the future. Pisces is not always so like spot on direct. So, sit with your discernment about it and what that looks like. I am monetized for content here on TikTok. I am not yet monetized on YouTube and Spotify. Just for clarity purposes, my platforms haven't grown all the way over there yet. So I am so grateful for anyone who does follow me over to those other social platforms while we are in these transitionary phases. Yes. And if you're someone who does not use those platforms and you still want to book a session with me, my website is still going to be up and running. And if you want to book before TikTok goes away, my sessions, I open them up through like the beginning of June, I'm pretty sure is how they're open right now. There's still some spots at the end of January, but all of December and then most of January has been booked out so far. So there's clarity on where I'm at around those things too. And thanks for all the support. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for your brew. That's true. So keep it up. Keep doing what you need to do. May this transition be easy for you. And I'll be here until it goes away. How's it gonna work? I don't know, but I'll be here. So thanks for following along. That's true. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. And I'll talk to you soon.